Yo, what's up, guys? It's Ben10clem here, back with another episode of the Ben10clem poll, week 14. So, last weekend was insane, or this weekend, I should say, was insane. The amount of upsets we had was wild. I mean, the Indiana at Ohio State game wasn't close, but still. Penn State versus Minnesota, 26-25. That was a close game. Army versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame, of course, won. And Alabama getting blown out at Oklahoma, 24-3. They didn't do anything. So that was wild. Sorry, guys, I'm still sick, but we'll go more into the games after we go over the rankings. So, starting off with 1 through 5, we got Ohio State at 1, staying the same. Number 2 is Oregon, moving up 1 spot. Number 3 is Texas, moving up 2 spots. Penn State stays at 4. And number 5, we have Tennessee, moving up 6 spots. Tennessee, it's just always kind of looked good. They did play a nobody, but held them scoreless, 56-0 still. But I think they're a pretty damn good team. I'm pretty sure they have the best defense right now, which is crazy. So I think out of Georgia, Miami, Indiana, Notre Dame, I think Tennessee's the best right now. Then at 6, we have Notre Dame moving up 1 spot. Georgia at number 7, moving up 2 spots. Miami, number 8, moving up 2 spots. Then we have Indiana, which dropped 7 spots. So I had them at 2. They're now number 9. So, yeah. And then at number 10, we have Boise State moving up 2 spots. Everything down below has changed a lot. The top 10 relatively have stayed the same, mostly, kinda. I mean, that changed a lot from last week, technically, as well. So, I moved SMU above Clemson. I was a little biased towards Clemson. I mean, we'll see how they play, because they end up playing this weekend. They'll end up playing at home against South Carolina. And South Carolina is really good this year. Clemson is minus 2.5, so they're 2.5 point favorites. That's like wild. So it's going to be a really close game. And I think if Clemson wants to have a chance of even getting to the ACC championship, they gotta rely on Miami to lose at Syracuse, which Miami at Syracuse is favored. Miami is favored 10.5. So, I mean, an upset could happen, but very unlikely to happen. SMU has already guaranteed their spot in the ACC championship, so it pretty much just depends on if Miami wins or loses that game. Clemson could maybe still get in at an at-large. But Clemson still has a chance of getting in an at-large bid, possibly, saying if Georgia loses the SEC championship, we get one of the other teams to lose as well. Like, there's a chance they could get in. I mean, a high chance, not so much, but we'll see. So SMU moves up 4 spots. They're 11. Clemson moves up 2 spots. They're 12. 13 is South Carolina. They move up 4 spots. Then we have Alabama at 14. They dropped the most. They dropped 8 spots. Let me check the spread of the Alabama at Oklahoma game. The spread of that game was 14.5 favorite in favorite of Alabama, and they got shit on. 24-3. It was just ugly, and Oklahoma's not that good. They're a mid team at best. So yeah. So Alabama dropped the most. They're at 14. Ole Miss dropped to 15 after their loss at Georgia, which they at Florida, I mean, and Florida ended up winning 24-17, and they're a mid team at best. And Ole Miss was 13.5 point favorites. So that's wild that ended up happening to them, but yeah. So we have Ole Miss at 15, and then at 16 we have Texas A&M, which they only dropped 3 spots. And the reasoning for that is, if I look for the Texas A&M game real quick, they played at Auburn, and they were not they were favored by 2.5. This game went into 4 overtimes, and Auburn ended up winning in the end, 43-41. Auburn is a mid team, but I mean the spread, it's not enough to drop them like 7, 8 points, something like that. I still think they should only drop like 3, so I dropped them 3. They're at 16. Then we have Arizona State at 17. They move up 4 spots. They played BYU and won 28-23. So I think they deserve that. And then we have Tulane at at 18, I mean. Tulane, did they play? I can't remember if they played or not. I'm going through to see through the games. I wasn't able to watch a lot of these games because I've been sick and stuff, so it kind of sucks. I don't think they played this week, but they move up 2 spots. Iowa State moves up 3 spots. They played at Utah and won 31-28. The spread on that game was a 3.5 point favorite for Iowa State, which was accurate. So yeah. Then we look at number 20, which is UNLV. They played on November 22nd, Friday. They played at San Jose State. They won 27-16. Then they moved up 4 spots, by the way. Moving up 2 spots is Memphis at number 21. Memphis did play someone or did not? I honestly, it's a pain in the ass to keep up with some of the smaller teams, but I don't think they played. No, they did not play. They moved up 2 spots. The Ragin' Cajuns are now back into the top 25. I have them ranked again. They played against Troy, won 51-30. And then at 23, we have Colorado. They lost this weekend at Kansas, 37-21. The spread was a 1.5 favorite in favor of Colorado. So, yeah. Colorado drops. I could have very well dropped them out of the rankings. Same with BYU after losing, but I kind of didn't because I don't know. The other team I would have maybe put in there would be Duke. Would be an option for me to put in there. I also have another option would be it's Duke would be an option. Missouri would be an option, and Washington State would be my 3 options to probably bump up into the top 25. But I decided to just keep those teams there, leave them where they are, and then bumped up now to 25. Back into the top 25 is Kansas State. They played Cincinnati and blew them out 41-15. They were 7.5 point favorites, and they blew them out. So, did a good job. I mean, it's going to be very weird to see how everything plays out in the Big 12. Because you got, let's see, conference 6-2, 6-2, 6-2, 6-2, 5-3, 5-3, 5-3, 5-3, 5-3. So you have right now a 4-way tie, which is insane. Having a 4-way tie right now, going into the last week. It's kind of insane. You don't see that often. Anyways, then we're going to go about the dropped out of the top 25, Georgia Tech and Army. Both I dropped out. Georgia Tech, I had them in there because I really didn't know who else to put up. Plus, they were playing really well, even though they were a 4-loss team. Like, right now, they are a 7-4 team. I mean, they're a pretty good 7-4 team, in my opinion. Like, they beat Miami. I think they have skill. But for now, that's where they're going to be. And Army lost and got destroyed by Notre Dame. And I think, to be honest, if I'm going to say who's going to win the conferences, I think Tulane wins the American. Atlantic Coast Conference, I really have no idea. Because it all depends on, I think if Miami and SMU play, Miami wins. But if Clemson somehow gets in because Miami would lose to Syracuse, I think Clemson would also win. So I just don't see SMU winning. I mean, it would be a close game, I think, if you put SMU and Clemson against each other. I think it'd be pretty evenly matched. My guess is the spread would be like 3.5 to a 6.5 favorite in favor of Clemson. I don't know if they would favor SMU. It'd be interesting to see. On neutral field, that's what would make it interesting. I mean, it'd be more of a home game for Clemson because it's right up in North Carolina compared to, they'd have to come all the way from Texas up into North Carolina. So, yeah. So our biggest losers of the week, Alabama dropping 8 spots. Dropping 7 spots was Indiana, Ole Miss, and Colorado. Dropping 6 spots was BYU. Dropping 3 spots was Texas A&M. So, yeah, that's the rankings. And if I would let you guys look here at the AP poll real quick. I'm going to bring it up on the big screen for y'all to see. We're going to move my camera over onto this side now. So, the AP poll right now is very similar to mine. So let's see if I can just decrease the size of this and put it here. is good. Yeah, we'll put it right here for now so you guys can still see the top 25. But yeah. Okay, there we go. So Oregon at 1, Ohio State at 2, Texas at 3, Penn State at 4, and that's exactly what I have on mine. I have Tennessee higher than Georgia and Notre Dame, which is a little controversial. SMU being number 9, I don't fully agree with. I understand they're 10-1. I'd say Indiana would beat SMU, I think. Boise State versus SMU now. That, I think, would be a very close game. I really think if you put Clemson versus Boise, Clemson versus SMU, like, those would be, like, close games. I really think that would be the case. They have Alabama at 13, relatively close to what I have. I think they have South Carolina criminally underrated right now. They are a very good team. Like in the coaches poll, they have them at 14, which I agree with. Clemson's at 12. I think Clemson is fine at 12. Makes sense being at 12. Yeah. Alabama being 13, I can see it. Kind of makes sense. I just think, especially in the AP poll, I know it doesn't matter as much as the college football playoff polls, which comes out later in the week. But they're criminally underrated. South Carolina is right now. I think they definitely are higher than 16. Definitely a top 15. I'd say 13 is where they're at. I think realistically they could go to 10 would be their ceiling, their cap, I think. Clemson's cap, I think, is 7. I think that's where they would cap off. But other than that, I mean, everything else I have on here is pretty accurate. Tulane's the same. BYU I have way lower. UNLV I have at 20. They have at 21. I don't agree with Illinois still being ranked. Neither do I agree with Army still being ranked. Memphis not being ranked is crazy. Kansas State not being ranked is also crazy. There's a lot of, like, why aren't they ranked type deals. Colorado being 23, I agree with. That's fine. Iowa State at 17. That's fine. I agree with that. Arizona State at 14. I think that's a little high, but I guess it is fair because they did beat BYU when they were really highly ranked. But I've never been really high on BYU. I think they're kind of frauds, and it's finally showing near the end of the season. To be honest, let's see. I'm not sure who they play as their final game. They play Houston. Let's check out the spread of this game. 12.5 favorites for BYU, and I could see BYU fumbling this game too. I mean, it's definitely possible. The college football playoff polls have not come out yet, I don't think, for week 14. No, they have not. So, yeah, that's where it's going to end. I mean, we compared the two. They're both pretty even. There we go. But, yeah, I think we're going to leave it at that. Let me know what y'all think and which polling you agree with more. Kind of surprised that my polls have kind of stayed very similar to the AP poll throughout the times of me creating mine throughout these past couple weeks. So anyways, I'm so sorry again for the late upload on the previous poll. I understand that's why it's not doing too well, but slowly getting better, feeling a little better. I just have this damn cough that I can't get rid of. So yeah, this is the poll. Let me know if y'all agree, and see you for the final week. You'll either see me in a very mad state or a very ecstatic state, depending on if Clemson wins and South Carolina. If they lose, I'll be sad. But if they lose and Miami loses, I'll still probably be sad, but a little more happy. But if Miami loses and Clemson wins, I'll be ecstatic. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you probably to review go over the college football playoff polls. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time, and peace.